hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, it's the after show where we gather to talk about the stuff that we did not have room for or they don't allow us to talk about during the regular show. We got Jim Kinsey and Tom Hennig in the studio over there. Hey, guys.
Hello. Greetings.
And Ray Elgin has hung around here because we wouldn't feed him unless he works a little bit. Hey, Ray.
Killing me around here.
I know. Work. It's terrible. It's terrible. And we have on the phone, line 4, Eddie has called in from Abilene, Texas. Hey, Eddie, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good. How can we help you?
Well, I've got Remington 1100 I bought new. It's chambered for 2 3/4 shells.
Right.
And I'm having a hard time finding 2 3/4 shells for duck hunting. They're either 3 or 3.5. So what I'm wondering is, would it hurt the gun to buy a barrel chambered for 3 or 3.5?
Well, you don't have enough room in the action to get the expended hull out.
Yeah, no, it just won't work.
It won't work.
No, you cannot just put a 3-inch
well, I know that,
chambered barrel.
but I'm asking, can I buy another barrel for it that's chambered for 3? Would it hurt the gun?
That's what we're saying. That will not work. The action itself is designed around the 2 3/4-inch shell, right, Ray?
All right.
That's correct. The expended hull will not come out of the action, and it'll jam the gun.
And here's the thing. You could actually get it into the action, but once the case mouth opens up on the shell, it's too long, it'll hang up. It won't come out. But I'm going to go back to something you said, Eddie. You cannot find duck loads in 2 3/4-inch?
Oh, it's hard. I mean, I find them every once in a while, but whenever it's duck season, it's really it's difficult for me to find them.
I know they do make them. I don't know a lot of particulars about them. I should, after all my years as federal cartridge, but that was a while back. But I would, spend, of course, it's getting late now, but I'd spend some time scouring around and buying enough to last you for a while.
Well, the other thing is, of course, you can buy them online, and they will ship ammo to your door. And the good folks at Brownells or a lot of other places, they have that. The problem is most people want to have 3-inch shells for duck hunting, 3 or 3.5-inch 12-gauge shells. And now I've shot a fair number of ducks, but probably not nearly as many as Ray has. And Ray, I'm just going to tell you, my impression is if you're hunting ducks over decoys, shooting ducks at, call it 35 yards, even 40 yards and in, a good 2 3/4-inch load with if you're hitting them, it probably is just fine.
Yeah, 40 yards I think would be the maximum for a steel shot load.
Now, when you go to something like tungsten load, something like that, you're going to get a good bit more range out of them.
Yes.
Okay. But the other part of that, and this, not saying anything about your shooting ability, Eddie, but the reality is most people can't hit a duck past 40 yards. I mean, I hate to say that, and I'm guilty as I can be. I'm not as good a shot as Ray is. But a lot of the shots where we claim they're 40 or 50 or 60 yards, they were 30 yards on a duck that was flying fast and he fell pretty far away.
Yeah, I understand. Can I give you my dream gun, too?
Yes.
It'd be an M1 Garand.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you can get that.
Well, I know I can, but that's what I'm saving up for it.
Now, do you want an original or real surplus M1 Garand?
Yes.
Sweet. That's a nice. It's a combination of it's a very shootable gun, but it's a real piece of history.
Yes, that's what I want. That's the reason why I want it.
Well, I wish you luck with it. I hope you end up getting it because it's not like saying, well, gee, I want a $100,000 gun. I know I'll never have it. That one's within reach.
Yeah, it's within reach. It's just, difficult when you're...
I understand, we're all on a budget, so it's a case of, we'll just save up and get there. That's great. Yeah. Wait, seriously, though, on those duck loads, do some hunting around. If you can find the 2 3/4-inch, go with that. If you can find them in tungsten or bismuth or heavy shot, that's going to give you a bit more range out of a 2 3/4-inch gun. They're more expensive, But honestly, a lot of times you'll shoot one time and kill them stone dead instead of having to shoot them 2 or 3 times on the water.
And also one more word of advice, and you're probably way ahead of me on this and know this already, but don't shoot it through a full choke.
Shoot these duck loads?
Yeah, don't shoot duck loads through a full choke.
Right, because they already pattern tight.
Very tight. In fact, I have found doing all the research that I did back at Federal Cartridge and the testing, 10 to 15 thousandths restriction, which is basically improved cylinder,
right,
will give you the best pattern.
Interesting. And the other thing is, for most of us, a wider pattern is going to get us more birds. We're just going to hit more.
Yeah. Well,
I like a pattern that's roughly the size of a Volkswagen.
I mean, I've been shooting dove with a skeet choke.
Oh, perfect.
Skeet choke. I seem to get more birds that way.
Yep, which is 5 or 6 thousandths restriction. So
that is brilliant. I used to have a Satori with skeet and skeet barrels, and it made me look like the best shooter on the field. Because, now you got to wait for them to get in range. I mean, you're talking 25, maybe 30 yards out from me. Some people can do it further than that, but it's just a bigger pattern. It's like trying to hit a tennis ball with a bigger racket, really.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
I'm also wondering if he shouldn't check with the CMP about it at the M1 Grand, because they sell those.
Yep,
often, don't they?
TheCMP.org, they sell those. And of course, the Grands are available. They're not hard to come by. It's just, it's the old deal of, but I want a good one, and I got to save up some money, so I get it. Yeah. Again, Eddie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ray, chokes, tight chokes, open chokes. I have become a real believer in open chokes just because for me, it helps me hit birds.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, we talked about the technology improvements and all of that. If you're going to shoot an open choke, you should always go to ammo with a higher antimony so that the pellets are harder and they don't deform, because an open choke with soft shot, it gives you too much.
Right, and the really cheap bargain loads at Walmart are generally pretty soft shot, and they're not going to pattern as well.
Exactly, and to cycle a lot of the semi-autos, they go to 3 1/4 gram of powder. Mm-hmm. So you're pushing a light load of shot too fast, and then the shot doesn't have
you're beating up the shot
enough hardening agent.
And then when the shot gets deformed in the process of being fired, now you're not really shooting spheres, you're shooting flat things out there, and they're scattering to the wind.
You're getting massive holes in your pattern.
Yep, exactly right. Perfect. Tell you what, let's take a quick break here. We come back, we're going to bring Jim and Tom back into this. We've got a few things to talk about, including dream guns. We'll be right back with more of the After Show.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
All right, we're back for more After Show, visiting with Ray Elgin, with Tom, with Jim. So, James, what's happening in Ohio world?
Well, today is Rainville, but
it's a good day to talk about protecting your guns from rust.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
With our guest host Des Ickent. We've got Desi. I've got a new shooter I'm going to be working with this week who has never touched a firearm yet. And,
man, woman, young, old?
Well, she can identify however she chooses, I guess. She's a woman. She's
okay,
breathing and
an adult woman. Okay, not a young. Okay,
no. I've taught a lot of folks to shoot, but this is an adult who, in my opinion, is a mega target, and says it's about time she changes that. So I said, "That's a girl. I'll teach you what I know." And she said, "I'd rather get somebody competent to show me."
Well, there's that, yeah.
But we'll work on that. So that's my goal for the week, to not just an average lesson. It'll be a several day little training thing.
Well, what's the plan? What are you going to do?
Give her the biggest gun using Machismo. 460. I'm running a 460 just to.
Well, don't let her wear hearing protection. That'll show her how tough you are.
That's right.
What was that?
No, yeah, right, huh? I'm sorry.
Well, actually, my plan is to probably spend an hour and a half in my kitchen with a paper and pencil. Without
it takes
even
a while to
touching
patch up all that sheetrock after you shoot the kitchen.
It does. I want to go through just a little bit different this time, because she knows it's something she needs to get over. She's fearful. So I want to have a lesson with no firearm in her hand for the first hour and a half or so. Talk on paper, talk about different stuff and how they work, and
good idea.
Kind of ease through the safety thing, because she isn't timid. I mean, had she shot before, it's hey, that's great, 10-minute little primer here, and we can get on the range. But that's not the case this time. So I'll take a different tack.
And knowledge is power. And a lot of times the fear comes from not understanding or not knowing. And if you say, this is how a gun works. It has a cartridge. It goes in here. This is what happens. So she really understands the mechanism. You kind of remove the mystery from it.
Well, exactly. And with a brand new shooter, I like to start out with something that is relatively sound free and as much as you can get it, and no recoil, and work their way up. With young new shooters, that's what I always do. And some of the more adult shooters that have a fear of it, start them out hitting, when you actually do put a firearm in their hands, start them out with a very easy target with a very light gun that's not cumbersome.
Jimmy, you think a 22?
I'm thinking my Mark III with milk jugs about 20 feet away.
There you go.
Perfect.
And then they just magically get the fascination of hitting a target, and that hooks them in, and then you start moving them up the ladder, and it's amazing, the transition. But if you take them out, and I have seen this, we've all seen this, where some guy will take his girlfriend or his wife out for the first time, and he puts a 3-inch mag in his 12 gauge, and the stock is
too long,
a foot too long, and it almost knocks
2 inches
her
off
down.
her shoulder or something.
Yeah, and then he's saying, "Yeah, you see how tough I am."
Right. No, you're just a jerk.
Yeah,
it's not funny. It's not cute. It's stupid and dangerous.
It's bad PR. It's bad PR for gun folks too, because they're going to leave saying, "Oh, that's just not me." And the
problem is, you probably cannot educate a guy who does that, because if he could understand what you were talking about, he wouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Well,
What you can do, though, is send him a slapogram. So just there you go. There you go.
I'm just wondering when she hits that first milk jug, if I got to flip the safety on so I can run down there with a bowl of cereal to kind of top it off.
Sometimes you just got to take one for the team, man.
Oh boy.
So, well, that's cool. That'll be fun. Probably, I'm just thinking, you're going to do milk jugs. Are they going to have to be like full of water? Is that the plan?
Some reaction, so you hit it.
If you're going to, I don't know that you want something that, I was thinking about hollow point high velocity, but if it blows up, that might reinforce a fear factor. And I'm thinking maybe just something that's reaction, but not a super big reaction, if that makes sense.
Like 3 pounds of tannerite, something like that.
Sure. At 10 feet. Yes, of course.
Something conservative.
That'll do it.
Speaking of which, I'm going to transition off of tannerite, because we just heard a story this morning, a friend of mine who is flying fires out in the West. And one of the fires, he said 3 of the fires he was fighting were started by shooting. And one of them by somebody who blew up tannerite.
Really?
Oh.
And Ray, you're telling me out where you are, it's just so dry you don't even go shooting out there now.
No, not rifle or pistol for sure, because anything that goes into the ground can chip a rock, because we're full of rocks, and and you can chip a rock and start a fire before you can even blink an eye.
See, I used to not believe that was possible, but it is absolutely proven. I mean, hitting a rock, getting a chip, getting a little spark, you can absolutely start a fire.
Yep. I had a good friend that had that happen last year. He and his friend were out shooting, and fortunately they were very well prepared and had several gallons of water. And this fire, he said, just started instantly. And he said they were very careful, and I believe they were. But they got it put out. But he said, boy, I learned a hard lesson there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's hard, Jim, when you're sitting there with water. I mean, where I am, if you lean on a walking stick, it will sprout roots. Everything's that wet. And you're sitting there right now in the middle of rain coming down around you. But man, out west, it is tinderbox dry.
Oh, sure.
We'll trade. We'll work out a trade deal.
Yeah. Let me tell you, if we could send some water out west, the folks would take it in a heartbeat. I got to tell you. And when they put up the fire warning signs, you got to pay attention to them. They're real, and that's how, you think, well, what's the big deal? Well, you can start a fire that ends up burning up 100,000 acres. Oh. It happens. I mean,
now, is there any kind of shot that's better than other, or not shot, but any kind of projectile that's less likely? I mean, is lead less likely to spark than the steel would, for example?
I'm not sure if it's rifle.
It's not so much the ammunition; it's the
speed.
It's you get a couple rocks banging together because of the impact, and that's more dangerous than anything. But
and don't shoot the magnesium pellets.
Yeah.
No tracer rounds in there.
Yeah, you laugh. Tracers.
I bet.
Yeah.
Speaking of reactive targets, when we're talking about milk jugs, something that I've done with new shooters that actually my wife came up with this idea because we go out shooting all the time. But the reactive targets, the rubber ball targets that you can shoot 5,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
They keep going.
Yeah, they're made for that.
Yeah, but it makes them roll and all of that. And
they're fun.
That I've had a lot of new shooters do that, and it is a very nice reactive target that you can just keep shooting and shooting. And
that's cool.
Kind of self-sealing. You can get them at found at sporting goods stores, at Cabela's, and places. But don't
get the real tiny ones.
Right.
We've got some of those, but get the biggest one that you can, and because obviously they're easier to hit.
Right.
But you will see some reaction out of it.
The other thing I'm just going to say, and Jim, you may already be ahead of me. I know you've got the Mark III Ruger. Does that have iron sights or does that have a red dot on it?
Fixed sights. It's got a little orange optic.
Right. Okay. And that'll be fine. At a certain point, I've come to really love the whole red dot system for teaching people to shoot. It's pretty simple. All right, when we come back, I want to tell you about a target that I just picked up, and I may be like the last person in the world who had figured this out, and I was impressed. But I went to a store, I spent some money, and I came back with a target and went, well, that's cool. So we'll tell you about that when we come back.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Batagroup. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
All right, back with you. I went did a little shooting this week, and then I went over to the store. Believe it or not, and Ray, this is going to embarrass me, I had to buy ammo. Just because, I was at the wrong place, and I had to go buy some ammo, right? But I wanted to get some targets. We were going to go sight in. Now, am I the last person to realize that I'm getting, the real standard Redfield sighting in target with the red diamond? We've used them forever and ever and ever. Sure. And we always take them, staple gun them up. And now they have them, they're from the Post-it company. Like stick-on Post-its like this that I've got in my hand here. And you peel them off and you stick them onto the cardboard backer.
Wow, that doesn't make any sense at all.
You're thinking, why did it take this long? I mean, now, Jim, have these been out a long time and I just weren't aware of it?
They've only been out about 10 years. I've got a whole drawer full of them.
You didn't share.
I didn't share because I couldn't imagine somebody not knowing about them.
Yeah, well, I try to be as clueless as possible. Haven't you had those experiences where you're going, well, that's really cool. Everybody around you goes, really? You didn't know about that?
1997, pal. Yeah.
That's right.
Tom just heard about rimfire ammo a couple weeks ago.
I'm telling you, they got a music thing. They call it the CD. Yeah. It is unbelievable how good that thing is.
It'll never catch on.
Actually, they're pretty good for targets.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're good to shoot. Yeah.
Well, the target I really like, but I can't find one for my eyes, is the softball-sized cheese puffs.
Softball size.
Yeah, the regular cheese puffs. You turned me on to cheese puffs a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Those are good targets.
I haven't gone shooting, but I've gained 43 pounds. But yeah, they're great because you blow them up and they explode in orange, and then the birds eat them, so you don't have to clean them up or anything. But
yeah, they're biodegradable. Just leave them out there.
Yeah,
everything's good about them.
But nobody makes them the size of a softball. I'd settle for tennis ball size. Great.
What you do is you just glue 100 of them together. Now we're talking. Yeah.
I always buy the basketball-sized ones, but they're expensive. So.
No, those are actual basketballs, right?
Oh,
really? That's why they taste so funny.
Yeah, and the birds do a lousy job of cleaning them up, too.
They won't pick them up either. Son of a gun. Well, we were having a ball shooting at 22 out there. I know everybody gets caught up with the big guns and you got your AR-15s, you got your 9s, 40s, and 45s, and all that. But every time you go back and shoot 22s, you kind of get reacquainted with just how much fun they are.
Yep. I've only got, 10 or 11 22s, but...
That's this week.
That's not enough. But
yeah, well, it's a start, as they say.
But, there's still a lot of fun shooting my 4,570.
That's right.
Another 30, you'd be at a 4,600 there, buddy.
Exactly.
30 shy.
I'm so close.
So, Tom, have you been doing any shooting?
I tell you what, I'm really interested in getting myself one of those CERT guns when you were talking about them today.
That's a very good training tool. Now, I will also offer, it trains you in a certain thing and really get good at trigger control. But shooting is also more than that. It's a part of the package. A lot of shooting handguns is about managing recoil.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, the CERT guns are great, and you can pull the trigger a gazillion times at home, and they're safe. It's a thing to do. And I want to say our retail for us is probably about $200 for one. So they're not cheap, but they're really useful.
How many times do you want to practice it? You can't because you're not in the range, you're watching TV, you're doing something else.
But I just go ahead and shoot stuff, man. That's just, we've got plaster and sheetrock's cheap, so it's okay. Why worry? No, I was going to say, Tom, I would give you the one tip I got from Rob Latham, who knows a thing or two about shooting when it comes to managing recoil. And it was the exact opposite of what I'd heard other people say, which I thought was interesting. He said, just hold the pistol as hard as you can.
That's my answer.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just grip it. He said, basically, you grip it, he said, I like to have about 100% on the left hand, but on the right hand, I like to have about 100%.
So he averages out at about...
about there.
Yeah.
If only I knew somebody that had a place where I could go shoot.
Where would that be?
As they step out the door where you are at the moment and start sending rounds down range.
Through the rain, right.
So that's a studio/shooting range. Best of all worlds.
Got it all.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
And yes, we wear hearing protection, especially before we mix.
So it's pouring on you right now, which brings up an interesting subject. What's the worst thing that could happen to a gun? Rust.
Yeah.
And politicians.
Well,
or in Dianne Feinstein's case, a rusty politician.
Ooh.
You're being redundant now. I've got a sign on the wall in my loading room that says guns only have two enemies, rust and politicians.
There you go.
Okay. And Ray and I were laughing. I told him about early days of a well-known optics maker who I'm not going to name because they've gotten it right by now. But at the time when they brought out their first sports optics rifles and rifle scopes and spotting scopes. And I was talking to them. I said, well, are your scopes and binoculars, are they sealed? And they said, we don't feel like anybody's actually going to be using these out in the rain. Oh, really? Oh, really? Not a lot of hunters on your team, I take it.
I bet a lot of people don't know that it's not just rain that'll fog up the inside of a scope. Humidity and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Don't have to be in the rain.
Right. No, it's just...
But you knew that. But a lot of people don't know that.
Okay. Pro tip, if it's going to be a cold morning and you're going to go and you're at hunting camp or at home, find a way to store your gun/scope out where it's cold, so you're not taking it into the cold from your warm house, because those lenses will fog something fierce.
Nothing you can do about it.
No.
I mean, they will fog, period.
Yeah. It's just going to happen. And it's not a factor of, well, gee, they didn't put the right nitrogen gas in there. It's just temperature differences on the surface, the glass. And glass is dense and it holds temperature for a while.
Sure.
So you basically got to have to let them cool down or warm up, whichever way you're going.
Well, it happens a lot if you're driving out to the...
it happens to me all the time. You got an air-conditioned car?
on in a car.
Or air-conditioned car. And, well, we do it in Louisiana. We've got...
Or an air-conditioned car, yeah.
And if you get into the air conditioning, and you go out into 147% humidity. When we're shooting TV, we have to let all the cameras and the lenses acclimate. Of
course you do. Yeah.
Same deal.
So when I go shooting in the cold, the one thing I remember is to wear long underwear. So
I'm glad to hear that, Ray. He forgets his gun, but he remembers his long underwear.
You want to stick on the optics thing, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever makes you happy.
Thanks for that visual, Ray.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that, buddy.
I'm not going to send you a picture, though.
One other small tip.
Thank you.
And this is going to sound... If you have hunted, you will get it. And if you have not, you will go, oh. It's cold. Your rifle and your scope are cold soaked, right? And there's the buck, and you start to pick up your rifle to your shoulder, and just when you get it right up there, you go, and the image goes away.
Yeah, got to be careful about that.
Now,
I wouldn't know that through personal experience much.
Often, yeah. That would suck, wouldn't it?
Oh, hey, happens.
Something else a lot of people don't know is that it dramatically can affect the velocity of the ammunition if it's extremely cold. So a lot of people, put it in some type of a situation where it'll warm up, or on the dash of their car or whatever. But it can have a fairly dramatic impact.
Especially if you are, and a lot of people shoot long range now. That's where you can really tell the difference. After all, burning gunpowder is just a chemical reaction, and we know from our science classes that temperature is one of the factors.
Exactly, and with the testing we did at Federal Cartridge back 820 years ago when I was with them, it is pretty dramatic, the difference in velocity change from one temperature to the other.
Now, is it like aviation, where to a point, the colder it is, the better?
No, that's a density altitude thing, which gives you more molecules for the wing and the engines you work with.
Okay.
On the particularly, do you remember? I know you do. Dave Fackler. He did a whole bunch of ballistic testing. And he was testing cold versus warm.
Right.
And he got to the point for duck hunting, for waterfowl hunting, because you're out there when it's really, really good, especially goose hunting. It may be 10 below. Mm-hmm. And he would keep his ammo warm, try to keep it warm in the blind, and cycle it out. If it had been in the gun for a while, take it out and then take it out of a little carrier where he kept like hand warmers in there to keep his ammo warm. Because he found it reduces the velocity enough to actually end up with crippling hits instead of killing.
The cold reduces.
The cold, when ammo got really cold, the velocity would go down, and you could actually end up crippling birds instead of killing them.
Absolutely. When I did a lot of duck hunting in the really cold weather country, I would do whatever I could to keep the ammo warm. And like you say, if it's been in the chamber of your gun or in the magazine,
cycle it out. You keep them just in your pants pocket or anywhere you could,
or
warm.
Or in a side pocket where my body temperature will do it.
Isn't that interesting? The stuff that we know. We are masters of the absolutely irrelevant, incoherent thought.
This is important stuff, Tom.
Well, yeah, it is to us. It's because we're gun geeks of the worst kind, or maybe the best kind. I'm not sure which it is. Yeah. There it is. Well, Jim, I want a range report on this lesson you're going to give this lady.
Yep, I will probably have somebody else there too, maybe to document it, because I really don't want to be trying to be a range safety officer / instructor / photographer.
Right.
Seems the distraction's pretty irresponsible.
That's when you just have her hold the loaded gun here while I take pictures. Okay,
right.
Sure.
Yeah, just point it over my head so we can maybe capture the bullet flying in at high speed.
Funny you mentioned it. I was actually going to ask on the air, and I didn't, how many people have actually seen a bullet in flight?
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
You know, you can. Now, here's one for you. I'm just going to, one more time, I'm going to go back to the shotgun instructor. You can see shot in the air, can't you?
Quite often, yes, if the lighting is just right.
Right. Yes. And when you're coaching somebody, you can actually see where the shot's going a lot of times.
A lot of the time, yes. But if you're looking over their shoulder relatively down the barrel, you know where it went anyway. So,
well, you do. The rest of us are. Hey, if they miss, I just say you didn't lead it enough. So, simple as that.
Right, exactly.
More lead, always more lead.
More lead. One thing that I've learned after years and years and years, and you probably know this, and it sounds rather banal, but with a new shooter, especially if they're shooting standing up, unless you've got them prone or something like that, but if they're shooting standing up, just gently put your hand in the center of their back and tell them you're going to do it. But I can't. It must have been well over a dozen times in my career that you sense a strange movement, and new shooters can turn around sometimes if something doesn't go right.
Yeah.
It's just as a safety. You're talking about just having your hand on their back as a safety maneuver.
Yes.
To keep them from turning around.
And speaking of safeties, one of the times when it happens quite frequently is shotgun instruction, where they've been a good safety student. They put the gun on safe, and they don't take it off when they're ready to shoot, and they're very nervous, and the target comes out, and they pull the trigger, nothing happens, and I don't know how many times they will turn around.
Yeah.
They will start turning around and sweep the crowd with the gun. You know?
Okay, sure.
And your hand on the center of their back and tell them you're going to do it so it doesn't startle them. But you sense the movement way before you see
the muzzle start moving.
Before you would otherwise.
Yeah. And then you can just reach right in and stop the muzzle.
Right. You just reach and keep the arm on their gun side open. Use your other hand. Right. So that you can catch the gun.
So if they're shooting right-handed, you keep your right arm available.
Exactly.
So you can just reach in and just hold on to the gun.
Precisely. If they're shooting left-handed, I put my right hand on their back. But, it sounds really dumb, but you'd be simply amazed how often
it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's a tip I did not know, and I like that one. I picked something up today. That's cool.
Yeah, I think considering she's a gorgeous woman with a gun, I am going to tell her before I touch her.
You are a wise man.
Yeah. Doesn't take me long to catch on.
That's right.
But seriously, on very few occasions, but a couple times I've forgotten to tell them, and you put your hand in the middle of their back, and they're nervous anyway, and they just jump.
Sure.
Like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yep, right.
No,
I like that.
No surprises.
I've done the shoulder thing, but I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. But
center of the back is you get more sense of where they're going.
Gotcha.
Or I do anyway.
So you know a little something about shooting, do you?
Oh, a little. I don't know. I read a lot about it.
He listens to Gun Talk Radio.
Oh, there you go. What else could you need?
There you go. What else would you need, right?
I didn't know nothing until I listened to Tom.
Well, you have fun with your near 4600.
That's right. That's right. And you have fun teaching that young lady.
I will.
All righty, guys. Great week, great show, and we will do it again next time if they don't take us off the air.
There you go. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk after show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gundealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk after show.